welcome to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, February 19th, 2019. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. This country continues to benefit from the close relationship which it has developed with the United Arab Emirates, the UAE. So says Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves at a news conference today, having recently returned from his trip to Dubai from the 7th World Government Summit. The Prime Minister said SVG has invested a great deal of time and energy to cultivate an excellent relationship with the United Arab Emirates, that Vincentians will be able to display their talent and unique products in Dubai in the 2020 World Expo, thanks to the close diplomatic relationship with the Arab nation.
I wanted to keep things going because next year is going to be a very big year in Dubai. We worked with them on their candidacy to get the Expo, World Expo 2020 in Dubai. And we will have a booth there. We have a big booth and we will have people go and come, because it's over a period of a few months. And we're going to put out our wares. Invest SVG is involved in that, along with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Camilo and Saboto are engaged in that activity, at least their ministries. And I, as usual, keeping a supervisory eye to see how things are holding together, hanging together as we carry out our public policy.
The Prime Minister said, thanks also to the close relationship with the UAE, a 35-member Special Olympic team will be in Dubai and will not have to worry about their airfare.
Also, the carriers of our foreign policy and our diplomacy. The cultural artists do it. Sports people do it. These are sports persons. Yep. They were so surprised that we are sending 37. In fact, I told them 40, but 37 is the actual number. I said, what? And naturally I discussed it in a manner. I didn't ask for anything, but I discussed it in a manner where they said, would you like us to pay for their passages? I said, yes, if you are minded to. I say, some or all? All? So that's okay. So they will be going.
The PM took the opportunity to highlight the PAVE project, which is funded by a grant from the UAE. He said this project is necessary for the development of communities across SVG.
A more comprehensive program we have been doing bit by bit, and every time we do housing settlement, if you see the one which we did at what you call the Peter's Hope. You go inside there, you see, no, those are not just footpaths, those are proper roads. Inside we do the same at Diamond, wherever we build. Green Hill. So we have done that in settlements, which we have established very well. Reason why I haven't given out some additional lands in Connery. I'm waiting until they do the drains and the roads, because I don't want people to have those problems. We have to do it properly. Well, now we're going to do many, many more footpaths, and the first half of that money should be here anytime soon. So that's another matter to make sure that we follow through on what had been agreed upon.
The Ministry of Tourism, Sports and Culture has joined with the Carnival Development Corporation the National Cultural Foundation and other cultural friends to extend condolences to the Adams family on the passing of Dr. Edgar "Doc" Adams, a cultural stalwart who passed away on Valentine's Day, February 14th. The ministry says Dr. Adams made an indelible mark on the nation, which was evident by the significant number of stories he told about the communities and the numerous recordings he produced about the history of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Additionally, Dr. Adams was a custodian of significant collections of local writings, including unpublished works of several local poets. Dr. Adams also contributed significantly as a businessman and owner of the Fishnet restaurant and a souvenirs enterprise that sold books by local authors and books about St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The ministry says Dr. Adams will be missed by many, including the constant line of students who sought his knowledge, the cultural practitioners who sought his counsel, and the many friends who sought his company, and by his family. Meanwhile, lawyer and president of the Association of Artists, Writers and Producers, René Baptiste, said the death of Dr. Adams is indeed a significant blow to the nation. Baptiste said Dr. Adams is a national treasure and gave some insight into his love for history.
He's a great storyteller and a poet, and he would oftentimes do performance poetry at various functions. This is a man that has written so many different books. He would sit and research. He had access to a lot of old documents. He would go and look for them, go into the archives, because when he was in the United Kingdom, he made a lot of friends. He had a very wide network, and he used that network to build on his knowledge and started collecting the old maps of St. Vincent from the 18th and 19th and 20th century maps of St. Vincent, showing all the estates. And so he wrote the history relating to the sugar plantations, Georgetown, the estate in Sans Souci, what happened there. He wrote on the people who came and started working along. At one time, he used to work along with the National Trust as well. He would be a significant loss. This man is a national treasure.
But he said it is her hope that those who benefited from Dr. Adams' work can build on what he left behind.
We need to have somebody with that same passion to continue the work that Doc has so admirably started and delved into and committed himself. Like he had this pledge that he made to himself that he would try to be part of the pillars, not the building blocks, the pillars of our history and the culture in St. Vincent. This is a man in his early 90s, I think he was, and I'm looking around for who will step into his shoes. We know Dr. Fraser's there, Dr. Denny, but we need to see someone with that same passion. Some of the younger people coming forward with the same passion. There's this idea that history is dead, a dead subject. You make history every day. Every single day.
But he said the writings of Dr. Adams should not be left on a shelf and recommends that some of it be used in the school system.
Doing this recording of the history of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, from the people who came to the days of slavery, the sugar cane, the cotton, when cotton was introduced, the different places where arrowroot was grown and milled and so on. He has made that significant contribution. I think what we can do in his memory is to have the curriculum unit look at his works and try to get some of his works into the social studies curriculum for the schools, because we need to know much more about our own local history, our own local socio-cultural heritage in St. Vincent. It's remarkable how much you know about other places and how little we know about St. Vincent. He even started writing on the batteries around St. Vincent. That is where you have all the guns, where was munitions stored in St. Vincent. And he was the one who pointed out to us, especially he was quite nearby in the Ministry of Culture. We would consult him quite often to assist us in the location of historical artifacts. And he
Members from the USAID-funded project Breakthrough Action recently hosted a behavioral change workshop here in SVG. The social behavioral change workshop was to educate Vincentians on the new techniques, methodologies, and processes that would bring about a changed behavior in social lifestyle that result in a healthier society. Deputy Director of the Breakthrough Action Project, Jane Brown, said that the social behavioral workshop would be very beneficial to participants.
Persons who may be looking at this interview and they're not quite sure how would this apply to the St. Vincent context, or how would this workshop benefit St. Vincent and the Grenadines?
So the field of SBC, so let me backtrack. Let me say that we are particularly here looking at Zika and other arboviruses. And in this workshop, we're focusing on one particular behavior, which is getting people to consistently and correctly cover their water storage containers. But the field of SBC can be applied to any health area and even areas beyond health and development. So hopefully people will take this information and these processes and apply it to their Zika work, but also they can apply it to other health areas. We've already heard from one of the participants that they want to think about looking about how to apply these methodologies to getting people to do more healthier practices around diabetes. So it can be applied to really almost any health and development issue in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Brown said they received amazing responses from the participants and hoped they would put all that was thought into practice.
So we're here really to introduce people to those new techniques and processes, to get them excited about using it, and hopefully to really inspire them when they go back to their jobs on Monday to really think about how they can use it.
What would you say the response has been like?
It's been amazing. I mean, we are introducing a lot of new concepts to people. Some people are used to working in SBC, as what we call social and behavior change. For some people it's very new. We're talking about monitoring and evaluation, which a lot of people know is important but don't really know how to do, and we're really asking them to kind of push themselves and think about these concepts that maybe they don't normally think about. So I think people have been amazing. They've really dove into it, and judging by the kind of responses and what we've seen over the days, it seems like people are really, one, enjoying it, but also really getting something out of it, and really, it seems to me, thinking about how they'll apply it to their work.
The cross-examinations of witnesses for both respondents and petitioners in the challenge of the results for Central Leeward in December 2015 general elections wrapped up today. Larissa Pugsley-Kidd tells us more in this report.
Who was the presiding officer in Central Leeward CLA1, on the cross-examination today acknowledged that she made mistakes in figures and placing her signature on counterfoils instead of the ballots. However, Jeffers noted that she recognized her errors and drew it to the attention of the polling clerk and asked to redo the Form 16, which is a statement of polls. Jeffers said she was assured that because they were made in the preliminary count and not in the final count, they would be corrected. Jeffers told the court that the corrections were made in the presence of polling agents and party representatives. However, while Jeffers acknowledged her mistakes, lead counsel for the petitioners, Stanley Stocky John, asked if she laid the blame on Esla Sam, who is an NDP agent, for the delay in the count at the polling station. Jeffers said she would not say that, but that when the difference in numbers was realized, she ordered that everybody present thoroughly go through the counting process. After being asked about the time the counting finished, Jeffers said she could not recall. Jeffers maintained that she is human and mistakes are made, at which time the petitioner lead counsel said, which is why the petitioners have a case because of errors made. Ashanti Caesar Benjamin of Barley, who was also a presiding officer at CLI1, was the next witness to take the stand, and she was asked about the sealing of envelopes and the oath she took as a presiding officer. Benjamin told the court that she don't recall what she said in her oath, but was reminded by it being read out to her. Benjamin noted that she was not aware of any statement of polls not being in the ballot boxes, which is what the petitioner's witnesses claimed to have seen. She said she heard of such in 2017 when the election supervisor called her to ask about it. She was then re-examined by the respondent's lawyer Anthony Astefan about her statements. The last witness to take the stand in the Central Leeward petition challenge was Tammy Walters of Clare Valley. Walters was stationed at CLB. She was asked about the procedures leading up to the elections day. She told told the court that the ballot box was collected the day before the elections and was taken to her home, and that she took it to the polling station the following morning. She said the first person to cast their ballot was a police officer who was stationed at the polling station. However, it was realized that the police officer was not supposed to vote at the polling station, and this was made known to the election officer, Mr. Robinson. She said Robinson prevented him from voting twice. She also told the court that there were printing issues of ballots. Walters was the fifth and final witness for the respondents to take the stand in the petitions challenge for Central Leeward. Meanwhile, the second witness to take the stand today for the North Windward petition challenge was returning officer Will Davis, who was cross-examined by the petitioner's legal team. Davis amended his witness statement to say that Grady King was the other person who assisted him in collecting ballot boxes, and on the cross-examination, Davis was asked if he was careful with the rules on elections day because he was not careful with his statements, as he is now introducing a new person in the case. Davis told the court that he collected ballot boxes E to 1 and Grady King collected A to D. Davis stated that Cheryl Sutherland, who stood witness on behalf of the petitioners, was asked to observe the elections on that day, and that she was an independent person known to be of no political party. Davis admitted that Sutherland was not briefed on any elections rules. It was then that the petitioner's lead counsel made the point that Sutherland could therefore not know what to do or what to look for. Davis further told the court that he made mental notes at the polling station and that the written notes were recorded by one Kendall Osmith. However, those notes were not submitted as part of the report, as he said they disappeared. The last person to take stand today was Veronica John, also of North Windward. Reporting for SVG-TV News, Larissa Pogsley-Kidd.
Meanwhile, oral testimony in the petitions case wrapped up today. This now paves the way for written submissions from both the petitioners and the respondents. Lawyers for the petitioners, K-Back Expertise, said they are satisfied with their case thus far.
For North Windward petition, and then that we close the case. They closed their case. So both cases have been closed, and the judge tomorrow, DV, we just go back to try to set out a timetable for when we would do written submissions and then oral submissions, and the judge said he will deliver his decision before the end of March. We'd probably get about a week or 10 days to do written submissions, and then we'll do some oral submissions, and then he will give his judgment. But he said that he will definitely deliver a decision before the end of March.